What's good, YouTube? We're here today to react to Trump attended hearing to appeal verdict in Carroll sex abuse case. We're going to hear the details. This is about to be juicy on some real. We're about to see what's good.
You're looking at some live pictures right now of E. Jean Carroll after that federal court hearing, down in Lower Manhattan involving former President Donald Trump. We're going to step outside that live picture right now, go to Kara Scannell, who is out of the courthouse right now. She joins us now. Kara, you were inside. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, Jim, so Donald Trump entered the courtroom, and this courtroom is fairly narrow and small as it's set up. So he had to walk right past E. Jean Carroll, who was sitting at the front corner of a table. There was a seat across an aisle that could have placed Donald Trump right next to her, just an aisle separating them about 3 feet. He instead chose to walk to the far end of that table and sit at that seat. So,
yo, they're slicing they're literally reporting this man's every move. He could have sat next to her, but instead he chose to go to the other seat. Like, what did you expect him to do? Did you expect him to go sit down right next to her? Like,
giving himself some space between her. There appeared to be no eye contact between the two. Trump sitting during this hearing, which lasted less than 30 minutes, just facing forward, watching the arguments there. His lawyers went on for...
So did they expect him to go like this? Go ahead and sit down next to the person. And go like...
about 10 minutes. Then Carroll's lawyers started their arguments here. Now, Trump's lawyers are trying to get a new trial in this case, saying that the trial judge made mistakes, including by allowing the Access Hollywood tape to be played before the jury. On that tape, Trump is caught on that hot mic saying how he gropes women and grabs them without their permission. Now,
I mean, this is honestly just wild, man, because first of all, it's wild how he got caught on tape. Second of all, it's wild how this is just happening right now. And I feel like he's still making plays, you know? So that nigga, I mean, he's just putting in work, on a different level. It's just like he's having his way, and, it's just like it is what it is.
They also said that the testimony of two other women who came forward and said that Trump had assaulted them, one in the 1970s on an airplane and another one down at Mar-a-Lago, they were allowed to testify in this case. Trump's lawyers saying that that shouldn't have been permitted. Now, as they began to address the judge, his attorney John Sawyer.
So this is because the other thing is I just don't want to give the people that are accusing him the fact that they'll be right, because there is the aspect that some of these women could be lying, but because Trump said I grope women, it's kind of tough to defend that. So
Started talking about how this was the quintessential he said, she said, saying that there was no DNA evidence, no police report. One of the appellate judges cut him off and said, we're here to talk about challenges to the evidence, not about the other arguments that they want to make about the case. So he tried to ring this lawyer in and get him to focus on the evidentiary arguments that they're making. And the judge telling the attorney that in fact it's very difficult to overturn a trial judge's decision on evidence ruling. So really trying to get him to focus in on these arguments. Part of the arguments that Trump's lawyers were making is that in the 1970s, it wasn't a crime to sexually assault someone on an airplane. But when E. Jean Carroll's lawyer got up, she said it was a crime to assault anybody on an airplane, and so that should stand.
Damn, so the law back then, but it changed now, but they're going based off of what happened in the 70s. That's the dumbest loophole ever. Okay, it's not illegal to assault somebody on an airplane because there was no actual law written. What the hell, man?
That should be evidence that comes in. So just a lot of back and forth over that evidence, whether these two women should have been allowed to testify. The judges ended the hearing without making any decision. That will come in due course. Often takes weeks or maybe even months. Donald Trump did not answer any questions by reporters as he left the courtroom. He was in there, though, for just under 30 minutes, and his motorcade has already left as he's making his way back to Trump Tower.
Lawyers for the former president and E. Jean Carroll squared off in Manhattan's federal appeals court. Trump is seeking an appeal after a jury found he sexually abused and defamed the former columnist and awarded her $5 million. Last year's trial was separate from the related defamation trial held earlier this year when a jury awarded E. Jean Carroll.
So what I'm curious to know is, like, if they still were in contact after he awarded her the $5 million. And why do they use that word, awarded? Like, after he did that to her, like, it's like she was awarded for, I guess, taking the assault. That's
$83 million in various damages. CNN national correspondent Kristen Holmes is with me here in the CNN newsroom. So where do things stand now, Kristen?
Well, where they are right this second is the fact that the judge has this case, the appeals court has this case, and they're waiting to make a ruling. We don't expect one today. We don't even think one is likely before the election. But just to give some details as to what exactly we saw today, what is going on. As you said, this is the appeal. He is seeking a new trial here. This was a 2-week case. A 9-person jury determined that he was found liable of, as you said, sexual abuse as well as defamation. They awarded Carroll $5 million. Trump's lawyers are now arguing that the verdict should be tossed because of issues with evidence, particularly.
Hold up. Trump trying to overturn the verdict and $5 million payout, but he already awarded it. Trump lawyers argue verdict should be tossed due to issues with evidence, but then they had him on tape. Court unlikely to issue ruling before election. Damn. So basically, if the court is unlikely to issue the ruling, then he could get elected and then, get the ruling after. So then it's like, but then if he would get elected, then he would just go to. There's the potential that he would just go to jail after that. But I don't know. I mean, just y'all bear with me, okay? I'm just starting to get into politics, so I'm just looking at this now. So, separate from defamation trial that awarded Carroll $83.3 million in damages.
Saying that the judge allowed certain things in.
That's a big. 83.3 million. That's a big. I wish I had a sheep.
That they don't think should have been allowed in, including the Access Hollywood tape. And again, as we said, the court is unlikely to issue a ruling before the election. Now, the really interesting thing is that this is the first time that Trump has attended any sort of court appearance involving E. Jean Carroll. They were both allegedly in the room for this court appearance. In fact, during that first 2-week trial, he never even called a witness. Now, all of this to say that, again, we won't have a ruling until potentially after the election, but he did not have to be there today, Wolf. He chose to be there, and as I know we've talked about, he's allegedly giving this press conference, particularly possibly just remarks. We know that he gets up there sometimes and doesn't take questions. Expect to hear a lot about him ranting against the judicial system, because this is generally what he does on days like today.
I suspect that's what he will be doing. We're also expecting some news from Judge Juan Merchan this morning regarding Trump's hush money trial. What do we know about this?
Yeah, this is a big deal. So Trump.
I don't know why, hush money trial.
Is supposed to be sentenced in that case on September 18th. Juan Merchan today will decide whether or not that sentencing will be delayed. Just a reminder, Trump's team had asked for it to be delayed. District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office did not oppose that. So now it is in the judge's hands. Obviously, it's incredibly significant if he is sentenced before that November election, regardless of what the sentencing is. This would be the second time that the sentencing is delayed if the judge, in fact, allows that to happen.
Kristen Holmes, you got a lot going on right now. We'll stay in close touch with you as well. Thank you very much.
So that was honestly just pretty wild. I've been hearing about this case, but this is the first time I've actually watched a video on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to, starting to react to these types of videos. And pretty much my main takeaway from it was that he was in the courtroom, and then he walked in, and then he didn't pay any attention to the person that he allegedly assaulted, and he was able to, get away clean. And I mean, but it's just a lot of things, man. I don't wanna like, because I just know that like certain situations, sometimes people can like, you know, make up things. Uh, Once people get clout and shit like that. So, and I'm not saying that she did that, but I'm just saying like it can kind of happen. So yeah. All right, man. So